What's up everybody, Jamison Redding here with the Road Trip Angler, and I'm down at Camp Manatee, which is right on the Santa Fe River, testing out the Approach 120 from NRS. NRS has been making inflatable watercraft for years and years, and they're really good at it. This is kind of a new vessel for them here in 2024 because it is a lot more slender and just a really new and unique design compared to anything else that they have. This boat comes in at 12 feet long. It is 49 inches wide, which means it'll fit in the bed of any standard pickup truck, and it weighs 120 pounds. Now that doesn't include the oars that come with it. It is available in two different packages, and that is kind of the standard package, which is gonna get you the dry boxes, the seats, the frame itself, the raft itself, the rod holders on each side, the oar locks, pretty much everything you see here except for the oars themselves and the anchor that's on the back. Now to add that package, it's an extra $700 over the base or standard package, which is $4,995. So that would bring the total up, as you see it sitting here, to $5,695. My good buddy Stephen Cheek came down to help me put this boat through the paces over the last couple of days. Just get it out on the water. We did a little bit of fly fishing from it. I'm not an advanced fly angler by no means. I love to fly fish and I have a ton to learn. I also love to conventional fish. So as I was spending time in this boat, I was just kind of going through all the different scenarios that I might want to use it in.
This boat is way more stable. Yeah.
Much like the Slipstream 96 that we tested out, you have that aluminum frame attached to the inflatable raft itself. Now this inflatable raft has 3 chambers as you go around the tubes. The tubes are 16 inches in diameter, and then you have that drop stitched floor. Now the floor you're able to inflate to 8 PSI and the tubes up to 3 PSI, but that drop stitch floor really makes it super stable, being that you can go all the way up to 8 PSI. I mean, not just when I'm talking about stability as far as like getting it on the water, but stability in the sense that when you stand on it, the floor is not spongy at all. It's very rigid. You feel like you're just standing on the ground and you don't have a lot of flex as you're moving around on it. Now, being a whole lot narrower than any of the other rafts in the NRS line, you might think that it's not stable, but Stephen and I weigh about 230 pounds each, and we're used to fishing out of kayaks. So stability to me is something that is very relative to what your background is and to what you're used to. So for us, it felt super stable, and we actually several times throughout the day switched from who was rowing to who was fishing and moved back and forth with really no issues in these conditions.
Oh God.
One of the unique things about this raft versus any of the rafts that I've ever been in from NRS or any other manufacturer for that matter, is that they utilize a track system to build out that frame. Now, coming from the kayak fishing world, being able to have track on my craft is super key when it comes to mounting accessories. And the fact that you have track down both sides of this boat really allows you to set this boat up however you need it to be set up, whether you want it to be a solo platform, have both seats, adjust for different spacing, adjust your foot brace, be able to adjust where your oar locks are at, and even add accessories like camera mounts, fishing rod holders, and things like that. I did not get a chance to put this boat together. When I picked it up, it was already assembled. However, that track system and the fact that all the hardware is the same size, and it actually comes with the ratchet and socket that fits that hardware, makes it pretty easy to assemble this boat. As we take a look around the boat, you'll notice that you have handles on each side. You also have a handle forward and aft, and there are D-rings to strap the frame down to the boat around the sides of the boat, as well as on the bow and the stern. The seats are hard mounted to those aluminum storage boxes, and they will fold down and snap into place, and they're pretty comfortable. One of the things I like to look at when I'm looking at any fishing vessel is also speed. I mean, stability is really important, But speed is also important because I plan to motorize this boat, and we did in this video. We actually put the Torqeedo 903 on the back, which is an electric motor. It's about the equivalent of a 3 horsepower gas motor, not quite as fast, but it allows you to actually go upriver or against the current to access water. Me and Steven are pretty good sized dudes. We weigh 230 pounds each, right around there. Plus all of our gear, I was able to do exactly what I wanted to do, which is use that electric motor to go upriver, and we actually went upriver several miles before we started floating back down. Let's jump into maneuverability. I mean, at 12 feet long, it's pretty close to the same length as most of my fishing kayaks. And the fact that you have oars, I mean, most inflatables, all inflatables, sit very shallow. This boat has about a 3-inch draft, meaning it's sitting on top of the water instead of in it. So with the oars, you can spin this thing basically within its own length. So it's a very maneuverable vessel, and you could fish pretty tight quarters with it with no issue. Next thing I want to talk about is storage. Some of them have different kinds of luggage racks that you can actually attach to the frame to be able to store more stuff like coolers and gear on top of the frame. One of the things that I think is really cool about this boat is that it actually has these aluminum gear boxes under both the front and rear seat. These boxes also have a rubber gasket, making them pretty watertight. I mean, we didn't get in any big white water. We didn't run this boat in the rain. But it did sit outside in the rain, and there was no water inside either of these boxes. So I'm pretty confident that water hitting it or splashing it, that stuff is still going to stay dry in there. And I think this is actually one of the coolest features about this boat is the fact that you have some internal storage in an inflatable fishing raft. In addition to the 2 gear boxes that are under the seats, you still have room behind the back seat, and you could even fit stuff between your feet and the angler's seat. And on that thigh hook up front, you have 2 cup holders and a little storage area where you can put a fly box or some gear. One of the most important things when it comes to looking at different types of fishing craft is, well, fishability. This boat, I think, is actually very fishy. One of the things that I really liked about it is that it comes with a place to store those fly rods down the side, and the fact that there is track integrated into the frame itself. That's going to allow me to mount other things like conventional rod holders and gear on that track, because I'm not just a fly angler. Now, it was very stable, and I like the fact that it comes with that thigh brace up front. That just really gives you that third point of contact, especially if you're in moving water or you're around boulders or in white water where you might hit something. If you're standing up there and you're fishing and you come in contact with one of those obstacles, you are kind of locked into place and you don't feel like you're going to get thrown out of the boat. The other thing is, when it comes to fly fishing specifically, it's a pretty clean setup up front, and managing that fly line wasn't that big of a deal. So the fishability when it comes to that aspect was pretty awesome. So even if I'm back here, if we kind of know how to fish from a small craft together, and we can manage that and both fish from this boat. The next thing I want to talk about is value. And I think for that $5,695 price point, that you're getting a pretty good value. I mean, it seems probably a little high for most rafts in this size, but when you dig in and you realize that it does at that price come with the oars, the anchor line, the 2 seats, the storage, the gear track on the frame, the places to put your rods, and the thigh lock up front or the thigh brace, I think it's priced pretty much right where it should be according to what else is on the market. So value-wise, you're getting a lot for that price. Are there other options on the market that are at a lower price point? Yes, but I don't know that you're getting as much value in those boats, because you would have to kind of add a lot more gear to them, which is going to increase the price in order to get the same thing and really be comparable. So overall, I think it's priced right where it should be. And I think that when you look at a 2-person setup that can be motorized, has oars and storage, it's actually quite a bit of value.
Ready? I guess. I'm
we're
going
going
this
that
way.
way.
I'm going this
Let's jump into durability.
way. Swap it up on you.
I've said this in other videos related to the fishing kayaks that are inflatables and to the other inflatable rafts that I've reviewed. And I think there is a misconception about inflatable craft. Now, when it comes to rafts, most people that have had experience in fishing rafts are not really thinking about this. The people coming from the rotomolded style kayaks, or maybe from a hard boat like fiberglass boat, or even a John boat, may think, well, this thing's inflatable. It could get a hole in it from a hook. It could get punctured if I hit a rock or I hit a limb or something in the water. But it really is just not something that happens that often. I mean, I have actually never had a puncture in one of these boats, but they actually come with a repair kit and a pump that you could totally carry with you while you're on the water. And there's a few things you can take just to make sure that you don't run into any issues. The other thing is there's multiple chambers. You have a floor chamber and 3 chambers throughout the tubes of the boat. So even if you get a hole, the entire boat is not gonna just leak down and sink. The other thing I really like about this particular boat is it actually has kind of reinforced areas on the bottom with more layers of that PVC material to protect it against abrasions. Also in the floor of this boat where you're standing, you have this EVA kind of foam pad on top of that tube, which I really like. Not only does it give you a little more grip under your feet, it's gonna protect it against dropping things into the floor, including fish, because a lot of times those fish fins can be sharp, and I've heard of that actually puncturing the boats. But that EVA foam pad is gonna give you that extra protection. The frame itself is aluminum. A lot of it actually has a finish on top of it, and the hardware is stainless. So when it comes to durability, this boat is gonna be something that you're gonna have for a very long time, and with just a little bit of care, it's gonna last you, years and years and years. The only thing that I really just wish it came with that it doesn't come with is a swivel seat. Other rafts that I've tried out have that option, or at least in some package they have that option. It would add a little more height to the seat, but this thing is rock solid stable and never felt like we were unstable at all. So that extra height on the seat is really not gonna be an issue. And I think being able to turn that seat around would make that transition process a lot easier. Plus, if you're gonna be sitting down and casting, you wouldn't have to reposition the boat in order to turn and make that cast where you want to. I also think it would be an advantage to utilizing the tiller handle on the motor mount on the back, because I could turn the boat instead of having to stretch myself and turn my torso. I could actually turn that seat to be able to reach that motor easier. So that's something I'm probably gonna be adding. It's not gonna be a big deal to add. It's not gonna be a very big expense to add. I just wish the boat had those, swivel seat brackets on it already. Overall, I love the boat. I love the storage. I love the stability. I think it's a great length and setup for 2 anglers to be able to fish comfortably from. And I really, really love the fact that you can easily drop a motor on the back. If you're looking for a boat that can handle tons of gear, a couple of people, and that you can fly fish or conventional fish from, take down the river, or even attain upriver by adding that motor, this might be a great option for you. I have total confidence though, just from experience, that this boat is gonna handle anything that I'm gonna be putting it through with no issues at all. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to subscribe, help us support the channel, and as always, thanks for watching.